Doug Andrew. I want to save you $250,000, maybe even $1 million or more of unnecessary tax. I've been talking about that in the previous segments. If you're just joining us, I have been talking about what we teach in a half-day, 6-hour educational event called Retire by Design. And in my entire 5-decade career of teaching educational workshops to financial advisors and to the general public, this is by far my favorite. Sometimes we would teach for 3 solid days. We have narrowed this down into 6 hours of very impactful information where we address those strategies and concepts that have the greatest impact and the least understood. So in the previous segment, I was talking about why so many financial advisors are guilty of just following the herd. And when I start talking about strategies like indexing, they immediately think I'm talking about index mutual funds. Now, what's an index mutual fund? That's where you have your money in a mutual fund in the market, which is subject to volatility. And an index is a measuring tape, so to speak, where an index fund might be the Standard & Poor's 500, the top 500 companies in America, or the Dow Jones, or the Russell 2000, or the Barclays U.S. Dynamic Balance Index, okay? These are indices, and so if you invested money in an index mutual fund, and if you had done that in the S&P 500 in the year 2000, and let's say you had $1 million in that account in the year 2000, in an index fund in the S&P 500, you would have lost between 30 to 40% between 2001 to 2003 after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. You would have lost money. And it would have taken 4 years from 2003 to 2007 to make back what you lost. Many people who have their money in traditional IRAs or 401ks in the market had to put off retirement 7 years at the turn of the century. They felt like they had lost their future. And finally in 2007, that $1 million that went down to about 600,000 and took until 2007 to get back to $1 million, they finally thought they could retire. And then what happened in 2008? As Warren Buffett put it, he said when the tide went out in 2008, so to speak, it reveals who was swimming naked, is what he said. What he meant was who was unprotected from the market volatility. They didn't learn. They bought into their advisor telling them, hang in there, the market always comes back. Yeah, it took 4 years, but it came back, but then what happened? It dropped 40% again in one single year. That $1 million nest egg went down to about 600,000 in 2008, and guess what? It took 4 more years until 2012 to come back to break even, and at the end of 2012, it was finally worth $1,046,800. Okay, that wasn't even enough of an increase to make up for inflation during that 12-year period. Now, that's what most advisors tell you to do. Hang in there. The market always comes back. Well, our clients did not lose a dime from 2001 to 2003. They may not have made very much, but they didn't lose. And as Will Rogers once said, people get more concerned about the return of their money instead of the return on their money when things are bad. And so during 2000 to 2010, we call it the lost decade because normally in a 10-year period since the Great Depression, you'll have 7 up years in the market versus 3 down years. That decade, there were 5 down years. So using a strategy called indexing, that's not an index fund, your money is not in the market. Your money is safely tucked in a multi-billion-dollar insurance institution where that $1 million is earning their general account portfolio interest rate based upon AAA and AA bonds and mortgages on shopping malls and skyscrapers and so forth. And so during that time period, the general account portfolio rate was actually about 6%. They need about one of those percentage points for themselves. And so from 2000 to 2010, the net they paid people who had money in those insurance institutions, which is the backbone of America, the backbone of the world, was 5%. So that means if you were concerned about the market downturns, you could just settle for 5%. So on $1 million in a year, you could earn $50,000 or 5%. At the end of the year, you'd have $1,050,000. Okay, that's not rocket science. But using indexing, if you felt bullish about America, which at the end of 2003, we told many of our clients link to what? Well, you can link to the S&P, which means you're not telling the insurance company to take any of your $1 million and put it into the market in the S&P. No, that million has to stay safe in the insurance company earning 5. Well, how can the insurance company pay you more than 5? Well, it's because you relinquish the 5% interest. You're telling the insurance company, take that 5%, that $50,000 of interest, and you can fund an options budget so that if the market goes up, those options will have the ability to double or triple if the market goes up. And so that's why some of these insurance companies paid 8%, 10, 12%, even 16%. They may cap you at 16, but the floor is 0. If the market crashed, those options expire worthless, but you still have your million. Because your $1 million is not invested in the market. Only the interest on your million bought options so that the insurance company could pay you if the market went up. But if the market went down, those options expire worthless, but you don't lose your million, your principal. Why do you do that? Because you will usually come out ahead by about 2.5 percentage points over whatever the S&P does by hanging in there. And so that's a strategy that helps you in retirement to not lose when the market goes down and make money when the market goes up. Same thing happened in 2008. Now, one of our clients lost one dime due to that market downturn in 2008. They were tearing. People who had money in an indexed fund, they maybe lost 40%. $1 million went down to 600,000. It took 4 years to come back to $1 million. In 2012. In 2012, many people that started with $1 million in the year 2000, 12 years later had $2.5 million, even $3 million to show, because they did not lose when the market was down, but they made money when the market went up, and so they ended up with 2.5 to 3 times of the amount of money. What does that equate to? When you need to have predictable income during your retirement, and if your money is in the market subject to volatility, good luck. That's why broker-dealers say don't take any more than 4%, because they know the average investor in the market, because they panic when the market goes down, they sell low, and then they wait until the market rebounds, and then they buy high, and their average return is only 3.5%. Well, you can't afford to do that. To take out 4% a year, you'll slowly deplete your nest egg, but not before your LE. That's called the 4% rule. That's ridiculous. You got $1 million nest egg, you pull out 40,000 out of an IRA or 401k, you have to pay tax on that. 25% tax, that's 10 grand, you're only netting 3% or 30,000. I would rather pull out 80,000 to 100,000, which is what I've averaged by using a portfolio of laser funds using indexing. Okay? Now, you may be sitting there going, well, what did Doug just say? That's why we come and teach live educational events. That's why we devote 6 hours to teaching you this. And if you don't take time to learn, you will likely outlive your money. You're just going to follow the herd, and I want to eliminate the dangers of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. Join us for a half-day educational event, Retired by Design. We waive the normal $600 tuition. These are free, and I will gift you, when you come, over 500 pages of curriculum free when you come. But get ready to jot down the cities and dates. Seating's limited. We're coming to Morgan Hill, Palo Alto, Dublin, Alamo, and